Recording in progress.
What we'll do is I'll ask you crisp questions, direct questions, और उसके आप direct answers देना. Try to keep it short and pointer में to the point so that it's easy for the viewer to understand. क्योंकि वो बहुत लंबा हो जाता है तो फिर वो reel work नहीं करेगा.
Got it.
ठीक है. Okay. A wooden bed or metal bed? Which bed should we prefer as per Vastu?
Wooden bed, of course.
And why?
Because metal is a very good conductor of electricity and a lot of frequencies. So eventually we become the conductor of the frequencies. So maybe, we'll start playing 91.1 FM ourselves.
एक बार फिर से आप बोलो without me asking why. ठीक है, तो मैं I'll do it again. So a wooden bed or metal bed, which according to you should be preferred as per Vastu?
Not according to me, but according to the scriptures, a wooden bed should be always preferred because metal is a very good conductor of electricity and the frequencies like the radio FMs. So if you have a metal bed and you're sleeping on a metal bed, eventually you become the radio yourself. That's why wooden bed.
So, but like for example, in the book you've explained it, कि if you sleep on it, what will happen?
On the metal bed?
हाँ.
If we sleep on the metal bed, see, our body has these cells and they work at 0.70 mpv. So it needs energy which is around 0.70 or around 0.80 maximum, so that the healing process is done well by the body, because it is our body which is doing the healing and it is not the medicines or the surrounding. So the energy around the bed has to be very subtle, and if there is a metal bed, it is a good conductor of electricity. So suppose there is a charging wire next to your bed and you are sleeping on a metal bed, it kind of absorbs the electricity around the bed, and there is an electromagnetic radiation that is passing through your bed, which will hamper the cell working of the cell, and that is why the healing of our body doesn't happen as it should happen. So that's
And
why
when we are using a wooden bed, what is the positive of that?
because see, wood is not a good conductor of electricity or any other frequencies. So a wood like teak, wood like sagwan, or wood like rosewood, or even chandan beds like sandalwood beds are considered very very auspicious, because they are natural first of all, and they are very close to mother earth, and it is one of the elements of the five elements, that is the earth. So anybody who's very close to these five elements, the healing process of the body is much better, and the recovery period is much
What
better.
is your opinion on, let's say, beds which are laminated or beds which are cushioned by fabrics?
No, even that has a substance called as resin. Because that lamination happens with the help of resin, and it has those chemicals called as phthalates basically. So phthalate is again a plastic, and it has a very high plastic, the chemical content, and again the frequency of that is supposed to be very high, and again it hampers with our healing process of the cell. So it is absolutely not good to have these MDF, I think it's called MDF, the MDF beds and these resin beds.
So the best choice is go with a wooden solid wood bed if you want a good healing for your body when you're sleeping, because that's the time when your body is healing.
Yeah, see, because 1/3 of our life is actually being spent on the beds. So even a lot of people eat on the bed, they watch TV on the bed. So that way, if you consider half the time we are on the bed, so half our life is basically on the bed. So the bed has to be very very auspicious, that is, it should have a good energy flowing. So that's why bed is equivalent to a temple as per Vedic Vastu.
Understood. Okay. So a lot of houses, as soon as you enter, they tend to keep a mirror right in front. So what is your opinion on that?
See, Vedic Vastu as such does not consider a mirror to be a remedial measure, number one. Number two, southwest, you can have southwest in a few of the scriptures it is given that southwest you can place the shisha, that can be placed below the earth to energize that area, the southwest. So it is not used for remedial measure. Now what happens and what is being said in the scriptures is that avoid whatever is causing fear
Just
to
sorry to
you.
interrupt.
Yeah.
Are you looking at the camera and talking?
No, I don't think so.
I think you're talking like you're looking up.
Yeah.
Try to
Sorry,
look at the camera
yeah.
or at me in the laptop.
Okay, I'll look at the camera. So again, this is repeating.
So
Southwest.
basically, I'll repeat my question again. So a lot of houses, what they do is as soon as you enter, they place a mirror right in front of it just for aesthetic reasons. So aesthetically, if they're putting it, is that a good thing or not?
No, aesthetically, if you're putting mirrors right in front of the mirror, it is not supposed to be good as per Vedic Vastu, because mirror is something where you see the reflection of yourself or anybody who's behind you. So while walking out or while walking in through the entrance, and if you see your own self, you may get scared sometimes, especially if it's late evening or if it's late nights. That kind of creates fear.
Psychologically, it could be.
Yeah. So suddenly if you see yourself and you may scream out, so that is these screamings, these things create anxiety over a period of time. So that is why Vedic Vastu does not consider these as
Understood. But
good
then,
things.
for example, if somebody, instead of keeping on the front of the wall, they can keep it on the adjacent wall instead, so that when you're entering, you're not directly looking at the mirror, but you can still add the mirror so that your space looks bigger.
Yes, that is allowed because that reflects the light, and reflection of the light actually enlightens the area more. There is more of light and there is more of visibility. That is supposed to be good as per
Understood.
Vedic scriptures.
Okay. Alright, so if somebody is constructing a bungalow, should they construct the temple on the ground floor or on the upper floor?
See, ground floor is much preferred for a temple. Now, why temple is preferred on the first floor? Because not on the first floor, but on the ground floor, because it is very close to the earth, the Mother Earth, and the energy that is coming from the Mother Earth that energizes the first floor, and if the the ground floor, and if the ground floor is energized, the murtis and the elements that we are using inside the temple also get energized, and that energy passes through the house, and also it slowly eventually it goes to the first floor also. That's why first floor is not preferred.
Because your energies are first coming from the ground.
Yeah,
the
because
earth itself.
Vedic Vastu is very very clear on having energy under the ground. That is, it's called garbha vinyas, wherein you are energizing the garbha is the womb of the land. So all the energies are placed there, like you must have seen in the Ayodhya temple what they are doing in the Ayodhya temple. Modi ji, our honorable Prime Minister Modi ji, had placed a lot of gold and diamonds and gemstones during this Shilanyas Vidhi. That's why the Garbha of the temple has been energized. So that's why the temple, the murti is on the ground floor. Similarly, we also do the same thing in our houses also. We energize the Garbha of our house, that is the Brahmastan specially, and that energy passes and flows throughout the house. So this is one reason. Second reason is because Bhagwan is supposed to be the guiding energy of our house and our family members. So if he's on the ground floor, he's the guiding entity. That's why always to have.
But,
It's better to have
but
them.
there's a common myth around temples that you should not walk over your temple, which is why people end up making a house on the first floor. So, what is your opinion on that?
You should not walk. Yeah, it is a good. It's a good concept that you should not walk over your temple. I agree, because see, all the uh, all the um, all the scriptures basically say that you should have a shikhar above the temple. So maybe that place on the first floor can be kept vacant, or you can have a shikhar
Or you can
itself.
have a double height temple or something.
Double height temple, yes.
But you should not have like a bed or let's say any
No,
other
no, no,
room
no,
that you
no,
are
no, no, no. You cannot have a
using
bed.
every day. You
No,
could use it
no.
like a multi-purpose room, probably like a
No.
meditation space or
Yes, yeah,
yoga space or
meditation
something.
you could, but again, there is very high energy inside the temples, because we are also going praying, and we do the deepak, we lamp the deepak, so there are incense sticks being lamped, so that place becomes a high energy place, and then anybody sleeping over the temple uh, will have disturbed energy.
Disturbed energy.
Yes, yes.
So then in that case, if it's let's say a G+2 story bungalow and let's say a double height temple is not possible, then in that case, how do we use, and if we're supposed to have the temple on the ground floor, how do we use the spaces on the upper floors, above the temple? Could this be used as, let's say, a walk-in closet or like an open terrace or, a balcony space or, is there any usage of these areas so that area is not wasted?
No, I've not come through any verses in the scripture wherein it says that the area above the temple should not be used. So I will not be able to say much on this.
Just
Yeah.
from a discussion point of view, because we get a lot of clients who say that there is one opinion that we want the temple on the ground floor, but we don't want to walk above the temple. That is one school of thought that I've come across. The other school of thought that I've come across is we want to place the temple on the first floor because we should not be walking above the temple. But now, if we talk about apartments, everybody has their own temple on their floor, and people are walking above it, obviously.
Yes.
So then,
Yes.
how does it work in apartments in that case?
No, see, again, we'll have to see whether the see, I don't know how to explain, but like in my practice, I would say that we have not considered this as a as a as a priority thing wherein you should not walk over the temples.
For the temple.
Yes, so we just see house-wise, flat-wise, and
Right, exactly.
yeah, and
Exactly.
yes, because in 10 years of my experience and with Shiv sir guiding me, he's never pointed out that you should not walk over the temple or something like that. So it depends from individual to individual, because see, as we are going through by the scriptures, so in scriptures we've not come across this, so
Right.
so we will not believe in this thought process that you should, yeah, definitely having a bed is not considered good, but other spaces like having a child's room or a study table or these things,
Playroom. A
play
playroom.
yes, play
Basically,
area
any
or
space
terrace.
which you're not occupying throughout the day, but only in certain hours in a day, or like a living room, a formal living area or something.
See, all these things, even if you consider that way, you will be walking over the areas in an apartment at least. So, I don't
The
think.
way I tried to understand this concept for myself was there are a lot of Jain temples wherein you have a temple on the lower floor and you have a temple right above it. So that even over there, we are walking above the temple in the temple only. So then it shouldn't be a problem.
It shouldn't be a problem, because like I said, we do not like coming from Shiv sir's lineage, we do not consider this as a fault. We build rooms, we build terraces, we build so it's again
Not bedrooms, but any other spaces above the temple.
that we've always given. I mean, if I see my plans designed, if I see the plans designed by me and Shiv sir together, we have given other rooms above the temple, because wasting area is absolutely not allowed in Vastu actually.
If suppose somebody is buying an expensive piece of land, we can't say don't use this
Yeah,
part
no,
of the
no, no,
house.
no, no, no. See, because again, in homes, it's not a good idea to have these shikhars, because shikhar has very high energy, and just one family will not be able to hold that energy. So, in houses, we don't give shikhars.
Right.
So,
Understood.
yeah.
If there are, let's say, if it's a bungalow and there are it's a G plus one bungalow and there are two master bedrooms, one on the ground floor, one on the above floor. Now, if one master bedroom is to be occupied by the son and the other master bedroom is to be occupied by the parents, then who should occupy which floor?
This is very, very simple. It's again like Bhagwan only. Ground floor has to be occupied by the father, and the first floor must be occupied by the son. Suppose father is very elderly.
One person should be occupying the ground floor basically because the energies are coming from the ground. And so, whoever is sleeping on the ground level, they are getting the energy first. So, it's better that the elder person is sleeping on the ground. Is that how we can
No,
see?
no, we don't see it that way, because see, elderly people again going to the first floor, coming down is a hassle. So we do not we practically we do not want to put our parents in this hassle point. And secondly, see, parents, they always look at our well-being, and for them kitchen becomes a priority, that everything is served properly and everything is being taken care of in the kitchen. So it's always good to have the room of the parent near the kitchen, because it keeps them occupied, and they will not interfere in the day-to-day business this thing. Because after a certain age, it's better that they have their own life of adhyatmic, that is the spiritual life. So that's the reason ground floor. It's not about the energy actually. It's about their practical approach.
I've come across people saying that the person who, if let's say the two bedrooms are right on top of each other and the bed are placed exactly the same way, then the person sleeping on the above floor will be more dominant. Is that true?
No, we've not come across in any of the
What
scriptures.
questions people come up with?
No, this is actually funny. No, it doesn't happen like that. That the other person becomes dominating. Dominating is
And
totally.
is it also allowed that that the parents' bed and the son's bed, they are right on top of each other? Is that okay, or it should be a little not on top of each other so much?
See, this is also a little funny, because the floors have been divided, the padvinyas have been divided. Every room, every area will have their own padvinyas. So the energy of the room of the ground floor member and the first floor member is totally different. So how can it hamper the energy of the person sleeping on the first floor? He cannot be more dominating unless he has Rahu in the first house.
Right.
So
Okay,
no.
thank you so much for answering this question. My next question is, if somebody is building like a G plus 2 house and everybody wants a lift nowadays, which directions do you think are best suited for making a lift in the house?
So yeah, so suppose if you have these German lifts, which does not have these, it does not require the basement,
Yeah,
the
the ground
capsule
digging.
ones, no. These can be placed in any of the directions, all the 8 directions it's allowed. But suppose if you have these lift which has the digging of the basement, then it's always preferred in the north, northeast, and up to the east area. That's all.
Okay, understood.
And lift is not a heavy object. A lot of people put lift in the southwest because it's heavy. No such rule, because see, ultimately it should be more. See, Vedic Vastu is all about convenience. So suppose you have all your rooms in southwest, and then there again you need your lift. Then how is it even possible?
Practically, it's not possible.
Whatever is practical is Vedic Vastu.
Because the other school of thought also is that if I'm putting a lift, then on my first floor, that actually becomes my entry point. Now, if I put a lift in the southwest, in my first floor, my entry point will become the southwest. That again is messed up.
No. It cannot become the entry point because entry point is always the dwar. Dwar is also like a temple. If you see Vishwakarma Prakash, Bhagwan Vishwakarma ji has clearly given a separate chapter for dwar. So,
But
yeah.
for example, a lot of apartments nowadays they have a personal lift coming to their own house, and so they don't use the staircase. That is their main dwar of the house. So in that
No,
case,
the dwar does not become the lift area, but the entrance from where they are entering.
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That in a lot of builder floor houses nowadays, they have a personal lift
Oh,
that directly comes on their floor. So they don't use the staircase at all. They don't use any other door. They come directly through the lift entrance
okay.
on their floor. So in that case, that becomes the main door, right?
No, main dwar is always the dwar. Again, what happens in Mansar? There is a mention of these floors, 12 floors and more. So what happens is main dwar will always be the dwar of the building.
Plot.
Not plot.
Plot.
Plot is main dwar. Again, then you have A, B, C, D buildings. Correct. So that
Right.
the building entrance is the main dwar.
But let's say I
And then again, yeah, see, so what happened in the apartment, we think that our entrance, because we are entering from there, that becomes our dwar. It is not like that. It is not like that. It is the entrance of the building. That is the main dwar.
But let's say if it is a G+10 story building and there are 4 apartments on each floor, then in that case, every apartment has their own entrance, right?
Yes, they have their own entrance, but that becomes like a room entrance. It is not. How do I explain this? See, let's go back to Mansar. Mansar has given 12 floors, suppose, and it has given say 4 buildings. So 4 buildings, that is called Vardhaman, and so 1, 2, 3, 4 at each corner. So at south you have one building, east you have one building, west you have one building, and north you have one building. So now what happens is so there is a plot now. So the main dwar is the plot entry. So that is one padvinyas that we are placing. That is for the entire plot. So now the A, B, C, D building becomes the main building. That is the main house. Okay, so the main house is that building, and everybody occupying the flats in that building becomes one entire family. You getting it? So the second important, the construction area dwar is the dwar of the A block building, that is from the ground floor you are entering. So that becomes say again we take padvinyas of the main building. So we are entering in A block, so that becomes the main dwar of the A block. Now again you come to first floor, you have four different flats. So you're considering 4 different flats to be the 4 entrances.
Right.
So these 4 entrances they are in the 3rd level of the entrances, wherein they are not as important as the entrance of the A block.
So in that case, are you saying, let's say if somebody has to buy an apartment, then let's say there are 4 apartments on
4 buildings.
No, let's say in the A block there are 4 apartments
Okay.
on a single floor.
Okay.
Now, if I want to buy the apartment, I need to first check my building entrance, that which block entrance is good.
Yes, that is very important, because that is your second point of entry to your own house. That is this. See, there are first 2 entrances are considered very, very important. Your plot area and the construction area. Construction area is your building entrance, and that is much bigger than your own entrance.
But then in that case, won't it just already looking for a house and buying a house, apartment as per Vastu is already a difficult task. Now, when we start checking the block entrance, then it becomes
so easy. You don't have to see the other apartments. You don't have to see apartment wise.
So, but then if let's say there are four apartment on the same floor in block A, so if the block A entrance is good, then I can buy any of the four apartments, even if the directions are however.
Yes, you can. This is what it is, and we are trying our level best to change the mindset of people that all the entrances of A block, which has a north entry, suppose, or east entry, or west entry, or south entry, all the entrances are good, all the directions are good, except that we try our level best to have them on Jayant Mahindra on the east, Bhallad, Som, and Mukhya on the north, Pushpadant or sometimes Varun in the west, and Grakshat in the south. So if the architects start building the entrances as per these, just as per these pads, all the flats are good enough to be occupied basically.
For example, let's say, because I've lived in a lot of apartments in the last 3-4 years, staying here in Delhi. Now, if my apartment entrance is a Varun entrance versus if my apartment entrance is a Som entrance, I've visibly seen a difference just because of my apartment entrance, not the block entrance, because I didn't check the block entrance, I checked my apartment entrance. And just because these entrances were different, I could visibly experience the changes because of those particular entrances of my apartment. And how does that work?
No, so when you have seen these, were you aware that the Vastu existed or the entrance? Yeah. So it is your unconscious mind which knows the knowledge. So your truth is,
I know it, but let's say even my family experienced it. They did not
yes,
know it.
that is what I'm coming to that. So what happens is, whatever truth you tell your mind, that becomes your truth, that becomes your satya. So you know this, and maybe in your family you are your chandrama, that is placed in a very strong position. So whatever thoughts you generate will be applicable to the entire family. So just by Vastu, it is very, it's a very partial knowledge that we come to a point. Your Kundli, your placement of your planets, they all of them matter, because planet position is really important to be seen while checking your Vastu.
But for example, so okay, we're talking about, okay, I was aware, but we've gotten plans wherein they are living in apartments, and when we have seen their apartments, let's say, we could visibly see that if there was a Varun entrance or if there was some other entrance, we could visibly see them experience those things even when they were not aware what these entrances are supposed to be. So then again, we did not check the block entrance. We always checked the apartment entrance, and we were still able to map that yes, they were experiencing as per that entrance.
No, I because we don't believe in this, because that way, if you see everybody staying in the west, everybody staying in the flat facing west entrance or south entrance should have problem, but that's not the case around the world. That's not the
but
case.
Then if the west and the south entrances, just like we were discussing, if they are the good path entrance, then they give good results too.
Yeah, that's again one point, that it's not compulsory that if your entrance is on these good padas, but you will not face problem. You will still, you may still face. That is just one aspect of making things positive. So maybe some other, the planetary position must be good, or that, see, Rajvallabh scripture written by architect Mandanji, he clearly says that what is Vastu? Vastu is nothing but making your positives more and reducing your negatives. Because in such area you can always build a temple. Once a temple is built, then that becomes a Vastu compliant home. So you have to always ensure that your positives are good. Suppose you're staying in a pad which has entrance in the say suppose Agni. That's supposed to be ferocious, and they are supposed to face financial problems as per the scripture. But I have seen cases wherein they are not facing any issues because the Venus in their astrological chart is very good. So that negative effect gets nullified. So just we cannot come to a conclusion from just one point that this pada or that entrance or this entrance. This is not the right way as per Vedic scriptures to judge a house.
Understood. Okay. My next question is that so a lot of apartments nowadays, as soon as you have a main entrance, you have a big balcony right in front. So you have these big sliders. So there is a common myth in different places that in certain parts of India they say you should never have a door right in front of your main door. So like it shouldn't be back to back. Whereas in certain areas they say that it should definitely be back to back. That your main entrance and then you should have your exit door also right aligned to it. So what is your opinion as per Vedic?
Yeah, see, these are two different questions here. The entry and the exit entrance and entry and the balcony. So now I'll take up the entry exit points first. See, entry is suppose we have our entry in the Jayant Pad. So exit should be on the Pushpadant Pad, right? So what is happening, even if you see the north and the south, if your entry is on the suppose Som or Bhalat, and in the south your entry will be on the Grey Akshar. Yeah. So this becomes like a swastik, wherein we are barring the top right in the north, and down below we are barring the south. So again there is a difference of 11.25 degree between each pad and between each entrance. So that is why entry and exit definitely should not be right in front of each other, because the energy enters from Jayant and it will go out from Grakshat, from say suppose opposite of Jayant would be Rog. So it'll get out of Rog. So that's why all the entrances are in that that kind of
it's slightly
the
off.
slant. Yeah, it's slightly off the cardinal lines. So definitely exit and entrance cannot have the same they cannot be at the same that perpendicular line if we consider. So this is one question, and the other one is you can have your balcony. Definitely you can have your balcony door opposite the entrance, because that in your mind that balcony door is a balcony door and it is not a exit point. So it's always good to have good ventilation, good air, there's good sunlight, and if you're getting good sunlight from the balcony, then definitely it's going to be good for your house. So yeah, these are two different.
Let's stop the video here and let's start a new video here. Otherwise, it's
Gonna be too long.
It'll become very heavy.